We're live.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so grateful that you, Candace and Mary and Doris, decided to pop on today with me to talk about this topic of UFOs. And so I'm so grateful that you agreed to join me today in this important discussion for the quilting world. The question at hand today with me to talk about the question at hand is an unfinished quilt truly a failure if it remains unfinished, or is it the process of art? So today we have Candace Abram, and she's one of my local quilt guild members. We have Mary Douthit from Maryland, and we have Doris also from one of my quilt guild members. And so thank you so much for being here with me today. So we're going to start with Candace, and I'd just like for you to before we go on to you, I just wanted to say that I Googled the word failure, and failure is not an endpoint, but a learning opportunity and part of the path to success. So I thought that was pretty relevant to our journey as quilters. And so sometimes we have projects that we finish right away, and then sometimes we, put them aside and they don't finish right away, but we maybe eventually get to them. So starting with you, Candace, if you can just tell me a little bit about yourself and share with us whatever you like.
Okay, I'm a retiree who lives in New Rochelle, New York. Over the course of my life, I've lived with my husband in 8 different states. As a consequence, I belong to guilds in Maui, Nevada, Texas, and now New York.
Okay.
So I've sort of seen what quilt guilds are like, and I love them. Obviously, or I wouldn't continue joining. So my grandmother who inspired me to quilt. She quilted all by hand. And as she became older, she could no longer use a needle particularly well because of arthritis. So she started tying all of her quilts. So I've been through all of that with her and learned from her, not nearly as well. And she did a much better job than I would ever do. But the point is, she got me started.
Great.
So that's about it.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And Doris, what would you like to tell us about yourself?
I'm also retired. I live in Yonkers, New York, and I've been quilting for about 15 years, a little bit longer. And my grandmother was also a seamstress, and she would sew a lot of clothes, and I liked fabric, got introduced to it through her. I don't make, clothing, but I'm fascinated with fabric and color. I love a lot of different colors. And like I said, about 15 years. I joined the quilt guild that Lisa belongs to and Candace. I met by meeting someone at the Hartsdale Fabric, a quilt store in our neighborhood. And she invited me to join, and I did, and I love it. The women there are so wonderful and sharing and generous, so I really like it.
Great. Well, thank you. And how about you, Mary?
Well, I'm also retired. I have sewn all of my life from like 8 or 9 years old at my mother's feet. And then I went on to high school and we took home economics, that kind of a thing, but always had a love for fabric and fashion. And then as I got older, I really wanted to learn how to quilt, but I didn't know anybody that was quilting. Here in Baltimore, I'm from Baltimore, I'm so sorry. I am here in Baltimore, and they would have all kinds of workshops, especially during Black History Month. And so I would pop into various ones and met a woman who was an avid quilter, Dr. Joan Gaither, and fell in love with the whole process. And so under her tutelage was where I really got a chance to kind of get into the art, not really knowing anything about my grandparents. And when we did a quilt, I took it home for my mother to see, and she was like floored. She was like, well, you know what? Your great grandmother was a quilter and used to have quilting bees where all of the friends would come together at the end of the day or the week or whatever it was, and they would sit and quilt and catch up on life with each other. So that's me.
Nice, very nice. Yeah. I unfortunately don't have a family history of anyone that I know that quilted, but I've been a garment sewer for since middle school, home economics days. So I've always enjoyed sewing. And then I learned the art of quilting about 13 years ago. And so ever since then, I come to love fabric more and more, and I just can't get enough of it. And I just love it because I especially love African print fabric because the colors are so vibrant and they, you feel a connection to the motherland type of thing vibe when I work with them, and I'm just enjoy it. So that's my journey. I'm retired, and being retired it allowed me the freedom to quilt more. Joined up with the local quilt guild. Time goes by so fast, but I think it's been about a couple of years now. And that's where I met Candace and Doris. And so I enjoy meeting with the ladies once a month, and it's nice to get together, and we do charity quilting. And so it's a nice bunch of ladies locally and virtually. So I'm just happy to be a part of a quilting, two very wonderful quilting groups. So again, thank you for joining me today. And what we're going to do is just we have some pictures of slides of each lady's quilts, and we'll just talk about them, and you could just let me know, or let the folks know why you haven't finished them or what your inspiration was behind them. So we're going to start with Candace when I'm going to share my screen. And let me go. Okay. Okay. So, oops, sorry. That's not Candace's. I got to go back. Sorry.
I wish.
Yeah. Okay. So here we are, Miss Candace Abraham, sorry.
That's all right. Yes. Everyone that you're going to see, it didn't even occur to me until after I'd sent them to you, Lisa. Everyone that you see, I didn't make any of these squares. They were all either donated to me or an inheritance from my grandmother. The one that you're looking at, the batik, was a girlfriend who said, surely you can think of something to do with this, and gave me the square. So nothing particularly special about it. It's beautiful. I just haven't figured out what the heck to do with it without doing a whole quilt and batiks. The next one I think is, another person gave me the hugs and kisses. I keep telling myself that I should, replicate these blocks and make an entire quilt out of hugs and kisses, but I haven't done it just yet. Okay, the next one is probably, now this, as you can see, is someone who had taken a class, a friend of mine, and said, hey, I don't know what I'm going to do with this piece, but it's pretty big. It's probably 20 by 20 at least. Personally, I'm thinking about maybe it's a pillow because it's such a lovely piece and it has such a vivid design, which was what she was learning in the class, that I don't think I want to mess with it. I like it like it is. So I think I'll probably make it a pillow.
That's pretty
the next two are actually both my grandmother's. Now, this is an example of something I did myself just because I wanted to do something with all of the squares I had found in a box left over when my grandmother passed. And a lot of these are very old, and you can really tell looking at the fabrics. Some of the fabrics are like 30s, really 30s, not reproductions. They're really 30s fabrics. If you go to the very next slide, that one really shows you up close. You can really see the pink and white, or the red and white. That was definitely a 30s fabric. The background, of course, was something I had used just to make a background. But you can see also that it was not only was it hand pieced, it was hand sewn. So most of that little throw, which is, I just use it as a throw on my couch, is made up of squares that were related to nothing except being UFOs from my grandmother. And I just put them together in that because there was no logical way to do it. There's no way you could put them together in any kind of pattern. So I do understand. I think our question was, is a quilt truly a failure if it remains unfinished, or is it is the process the art? I believe that was the question
Yes.
for our UFOs.
Mm-hmm.
And my attitude is that painters, all the great painters, painted over the first canvas they painted on some topic all the time. That was so common. So many of the great paintings in the world have another painting underneath them that the artist rejected and said, oh, this is junk. And therefore, I'm going to paint something more worthy on top.
Mm-hmm.
And this never even gets discovered, of course, until some painting restorer comes along and starts, trying to maybe help some flaking paint or something on the top painting. Well, I kind of feel the same way about these blocks. If, they're not, this block is not in any way perfection. It's sentimental, and it certainly has materials in it that we as quilters hear about. Notice that even one of the white blocks, one of the triangle blocks, is a pieced piece of white.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't even have a full piece of white to fill up that block.
Right.
So, I think there's probably many uses we could make of these. I think it almost has to be an artistic choice, though, when we make it. It's like something like something inspires you to put it together and use it in some way. I think the last thing we should ever do is throw any of them out. But on the other hand, I don't think there's any one answer to how we can use UFOs. That's my speech.
Oh, very good. Okay. I'm sure there are a lot of people who feel the same way about the UFOs that they have, and not sure what to do with them, but throwing them out is not a good option, I would imagine, and thank you for your thoughts about UFOs. Appreciate it. Okay. All right. Next, we have Miss Doris Capello, and we'll just take a look at your pieces that you sent in. Okay.
That's a Missouri Star quilt that I started, and I wanted to make it in all blues and greens.
Mm-hmm.
And the center block is all solid greens. It doesn't have any white, but I couldn't find the right blue or green to go with it. So that one is a very recent work in progress.
Mm-hmm.
But if you show the other one, Lisa, I have a long story about the other one.
Okay, great.
Could you show the other picture first?
Okay,
This is the back.
Okay, there you go.
Okay. This has a kind of a sentimental story behind it. I took a class with Dorothy Scalise at Hartsdale Fabrics.
Mm-hmm.
And Dorothy worked all her life for Avon, and her job was to create different colored lipsticks for that year. So every year she would create different colors. So color was very important to her. And I took this class. This is one of the first classes that I took. And I don't know if today I would choose these same colors, but at the time, Dorothy's message to all of us is that we are all artists.
Mm-hmm.
And as an artist, you choose your own palette, you use your own colors. And like I said before, I love color. So these were attractive. The greens and the flowers in the middle, the border, I loved. And then she kind of encouraged me to introduce that yellow, and I liked it. So she always said, don't be afraid of color.
Mm-hmm.
Use it, as often as you can. Then if you go to the back, the other slides, that's the back. I had some leftover fabric and I made that the back. So let me see what my notes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no problem.
So not to be afraid of color.
Mm-hmm.
She said, as artists, it's our own creation. Whatever we want to put in a quilt is ours, and we should own it and not be afraid of what other people say about our color choices. It's ours. So that kind of encouraged me. but it's not finished for several reasons. First, this was, like I said, one of the first quilts that I made. I didn't know about quilting, about making a sandwich. I didn't know anything about that. I guess that would have been the second class that Dorothy would have taught. But Dorothy left and went to work at another store. And so I just put it aside. I did go to take a class with her at City Quilter, but never brought this one with me. Eventually, Dorothy developed Alzheimer's and has since passed away. So it's a very sentimental quilt for me because she was such a wonderful person and helped me release my creativity that I had. I am now in South Carolina, and Lisa had asked me to send her a picture of this UFO, and I couldn't send it to her. So my daughter went to my house, dug it up out of the back of the closet, and fell in love with it. So my daughter loves it. So now I have a reason and a purpose to finish it. So I'm going to finish it for my daughter when I go back home. So that's kind of the story of that quilt.
Well, that's wonderful. Now you know, it had sentimental value to you then, and now once you pass it on to your daughter, and now you have a reason to finish it because she loves it, and now it will even hold more sentimental value to you because you're passing it on to your beloved daughter. So that's sweet.
Yes.
That's really nice. It's a nice. You weren't afraid. She wasn't afraid of color for sure. So but it's bright and cheery, and I'm glad your daughter loves it. So
yes,
thank you for sharing that story behind your UFO. Okay, let's see. Okay, so now we're going to go on to Miss Mary Douthit. Okay.
Ooh.
Okay, I too love color. Most of the pieces that I have here are pieces that I worked on during the pandemic, actually. Every week or every 2 weeks, I was taking another class, learning another technique, which I absolutely loved. And when I learned the applique technique, I was in love. And so 1 week we were going to do the Hawaiian quilt. And there were probably 15 to 20 different patterns you could choose. So you could pick which ones you wanted. And so these were the ones that I picked. One of the things that runs through most of my work, not everything, is black and white. So somewhere in my piece, it's going to be real obvious that, it's a black and white thing for me. The thing I think that kind of causes me to pause is once I get my squares together, they're beautiful, I like them, but okay, now how am I going to put these together? And it takes me a while to process things, but when I process it and am completely satisfied and put it together, I'm in love with it. If I were to rush and do it, I don't know that I would make the right choices. So I just tend to just take my time. But I love this piece, and in my head right now, I'm saying that I'm going to put my strips in between in a black and white polka dot.
Oh, okay.
That's my thought.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens once you decide to put it together. But currently, it is a UFO. It's looking beautiful, and I'm sure you'll put it together beautifully.
And show it to us.
I went right through it. I mean, I was not intimidated by any of the process of the cutting and all that. I did all that in, I don't know, let's just say 2 weeks. I got all my squares done, and then it's just been like sitting ever since.
Yeah. It looks like it'll be complete at some point.
Yeah. I'm hoping to get it done.
Yes. And here's your next one.
This is a pattern that I bought. I think it's African women, but these are the women with the water pots on their head. And here again, I learned piecing from another guild that I was a part of and was excited about it, came home, put them all together. And here again, how am I going to put it together? But when I was taking these pictures the other day, I liked this I like how I have it set up here. I like the 9 and then figuring out what I'm going to put around it. So that was a good thing that I was able to kind of see that on yesterday when I was putting the pictures together.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Nice.
But I love African fabrics too, and most of my pieces are African fabric. The ladies are African fabric, and this next one is African fabric also. This piece, I put together this past summer, as a matter of fact. A friend of mine who is a sewer, she sews for people, but she spends most, I won't say most, she does a lot with African fabrics. And so she told me, Mary, I have all these fabrics. If you ever want any, just let me know and I'll bundle them up and get them to you. And so last year it was snowing. I do remember I went over, I got the fabrics, I brought them home. I looked at this big bag of scrap fabric and I was like, okay, what are you going to do? So the next day or so, I dumped them all out on the floor. And I figured if I dump them out, I'm going to do something. I still don't know what, but I'm going to do something with it. So in dumping them out, I organized it such that I could do strips. And I did all of my strips. I think it was 8.5 by 3 or 2.5 by 8.5, whatever it was. I stacked them all and kind of color coded everything. And then it was months later that I sat down and I put the pieces together. And when I put the first one together, I used the white background and the black dots and remembered that I had black polka dot with white dots. And so I went and grabbed that and I kind of mixed the two together, which I thought made a very nice play on the different, the variations in the background, but also the fabrics in the middle now pop, I think. So here again, I need to figure out, okay, are you going to just sew them all together as is? Are you going to put some sort of a stripping in between? Are you going to do cornerstone? What are you going to do?
Right.
And so that's kind of where I am with that one.
So it is currently a UFO, but I'm sure it's going to be a complete fabulous quilt when you're done, once you figure out what you want to do with it. But it's beautiful. They're beautiful.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Okay.
Lisa?
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
go ahead.
just going to add, but Mary can finish.
Okay.
Afterwards.
Okay. All right. So this is your next piece, Mary.
Okay. This was also a class that I took on paper piecing and was excited, came home, knocked them out the park, you know, got everything all together. And initially I was going to make this like a heritage / legacy quilt. And I was going to incorporate images of my family, my mother, my father, my sisters and brothers, my grandfather, and greats, as far back as I could go. And I think I can go back as far as great. I was going to incorporate pictures, but here again, I got them done and I was like, okay, well, what color, how do you finish this? And how am I going to incorporate all these pictures in here that I'm thinking in my head I want to do? But it's just a matter of me sitting down and doing it. And one of the things that I said this year, 2025, in January, I was like, well, I'm not starting anything else. I need to finish something. And I finished one this year, but I have like 5 more to finish. And these are all things that I've done since the pandemic, or during the pandemic and after.
Nice.
But I love this. I love everything about it.
Yeah, it is beautiful. It is definitely vibrant, and I see how you incorporate your black and white at some point in pretty much everything. So that's kind of like your signature. And I think it's just a matter of just maybe with our UFOs, we'll see that we're not sure what to do with them, but then an occasion or a reason will come up to finish it. Say, you know, maybe a girlfriend or a family member birthday or a Christmas gift, and you want to give a look. So then it'll be a reason to say, oh, I'm going to finish this now and gift it to someone. So, you know, we hold on to them until we feel comfortable in making a decision on what to do with them. But in the
Right.
meantime,
Well, I come from a relatively large family, and I had said that I wanted to do quilts for my sister. I have one sister and four brothers remaining, so I wanted to do quilts for each one of them.
mhm.
So if I finish these off, I'm right there.
Yeah, you almost just gotta put it together and gift them, and I'm sure they will be blessed to have them for sure.
Yeah,
Uh,
but now the
mhm.
question, part of the question was whether we thought it was a process of art. Read the question again for me. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
the question at hand is a quilt truly a failure if it remains unfinished, or is it the process of art?
I don't think it remains a failure. I do think that it is a process of art because there's a lot that goes into putting the pieces together. I
Mhm.
mean, you have to one, pick the pattern, then you decide on what colors you're going to use. Is there going to be a theme? Are you going to put images on it, or are you just going to do strips of that? It's a whole lot that goes into that whole equation. And so I do think that it is a work of art, and it's a work of art until its completion.
Mhm.
So I don't think you can say, well, you only did the squares and you didn't put the whole thing apart, put the whole thing together, rather, that it's a failure. You work on it until it is completed. And I've seen on Facebook and various places where people will say that they've had UFOs for 20 years or better, and they finally, finished them off or whatever.
Yes,
So,
I would agree that it's impossible for it to be a failure. Only, it's kind of like, you just do things at your own pace, and when you feel led to do certain things and make it come to fruition when in your timing, and when
right.
the time is right. So I would agree that it couldn't possibly be UFOs could not be a failure in any stretch of the imagination. What was
Lisa,
your question?
Lisa, I was just going to piggyback on something Candace said.
Mhm.
That great masterpieces usually have another picture behind it.
Right.
Uh,
Uh-huh.
Sometimes I don't finish a quilt because I'm afraid of ruining the fabric that I have, or I don't know if I have enough, but it's not a failure. It's just, I'm still thinking about it.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
yeah, and sometimes I will look at another quilt pattern or see a quilt, displayed at our quilt guild, and that will give me an idea of how to finish it. Mary was saying she didn't know how to finish that first one with the black and white squares. You were thinking of putting black between the squares.
Mm-hmm.
Something it's sometimes it's as simple as that, you know,
Mm-hmm.
just what border do I put on it? And all of a sudden you get an idea of how to finish it.
Right.
So I have a bin of unfinished quilts,
Yeah.
but slowly I'm working on them.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like for this one, for example, say you feel in your spirit that you want to bless your cousin with this, and your
Mm-hmm.
cousin's favorite color is orange, and then you find the right orange to complement it because it's orange and there's all kind of colors, so you can use whatever color you choose, and then you would sash it or whatever. So
Right.
it all, like I said, it all depends on who you might want to give it to or what you might want to do with it, and then that'll determine how you would finish it
Finish it
potentially.
off.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. But
It's pretty, very
yes,
pretty.
gorgeous. Everybody's work is so nice. Okay, so to little old me, to moi. This is my first introduction to quilting, the first quilt that I put together. And I took a class at a local fabric store, the same one you mentioned, Doris. And it's a rail fence pattern. I didn't really understand what I was doing. I think I was confused because I've come to learn that I'm directionally challenged. So I think when I was doing it, I didn't understand the concept of putting it together. But I know when I picked out these fabrics from the store, I had my mom in mind because she had passed away and she loved purple and she loved butterflies. And so my fabric selections were based on with the thought of in memory of my loving mom. And so I put it together and I used the polyester batting because I had no idea about really quilting per se. So now looking back, I wouldn't have never used the polyester batting. I brought it out recently, and once I got a long arm not too long ago, and I tried to quilt it on the long arm and do different stitches with the ruler or free motion quilting and doing different things within the quilt to try to get it finished. And so it's really basically finished. I just have to put a binding on it. The binding strip is cut out, it's ready to be bound. And so it's ready to finish up, but I haven't finished it because I'm not in a rush to finish it. And whenever I decide to finish it, then it will be complete and I'll use it to snuggle up with it. So it's a lap quilt size. And then on this is just the back, and you could see some of the stitching that I tried to do in there. And so that's it. But it was my first full lap size quilt that I had ever done. And like I said, it's about 13 years old, and I plan to finish it and use it in memory of my mom. So that's my story behind this particular quilt. And okay, so I'm going to stop share, and then we can go back to our discussion. So yeah, I think that like I said, when you have a thought in mind in terms of a reason why you're making a quilt, there was a reason behind it. And so and even though you put it aside, I don't think that reason goes away. Like the reason is still there. It's still you in your memory bank as to why you started this project in the first place and what inspired you to, pick those colors or what have you. And so it couldn't possibly be a failure. Failure means like, you just throw something away and because you just give up and you toss it and you say, I'm not going to do this because I messed up. That's a failure. But if you still have it in your stash and you didn't throw it away, so you still have an opportunity to fix it up, change it up, and do whatever to it. So yeah, I think that we still have those projects that we haven't finished yet, and we have them for a reason.
Lisa, also in your second question, if a quilt represents a conversation, does leaving it unfinished means the conversation wasn't worth having? And I disagree with that. Because sometimes you'll work on something, I get excited about a quilt or I see a pattern, and then it turns out I don't like it. I don't like that technique. For example, I know this is important for a lot of people, but I don't like paper piecing. But I did take a class on paper piecing.
Right.
And I like the end result that the instructor showed us. I'm just not the paper piecing type.
Right.
So, it's unfinished. Not because I don't want to finish it, but because I learned that there are certain things that I like.
Right.
And there are things that I don't like.
Yeah.
So the conversation was worth it.
Yes, definitely.
I'm not going to be spending time and money going in that direction when I know it's not something that makes me happy. And I think quilting should make you happy.
Oh, absolutely. That's the thing about quilt. I mean, we do this because we enjoy it, right? And so it gives us something we enjoy doing. And so we don't want to like feel stressed out about it or, frustrated about something. So, like we should be happy. And but then now by having that as a UFO, that particular paper piece, you could do traditional quilting things or blocks around it or something, I guess, so you still have opportunities to finish it and do whatever you want. And like I said, we can do whatever we want. Like we don't have to conform to any police or whatever, when you're doing something for yourself.
Right.
And also, we tend to take a lot of classes, workshops, and we learn new and different things. There may be something that you learn later that you could incorporate into what you're trying to finish. You didn't realize you needed that piece, but because I've now taken this class and it has piqued my interest, and I think it would be a nice complement to what I'm currently working on, it would encourage you to go ahead and finish it.
Right.
I mean, as long as we are still here on this earth, we have time. As long as we have time to do whatever it is that we want to do, we always have the opportunity to do it. So I think it's important to just not. I'm I don't know. I don't know if I'm lackadaisical, but I'm just like, whatever, it's all good. It's not that serious. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be, something that brings you joy. So, try not to stress out over
Yeah,
an unfinished quilt.
for sure.
Yeah, it's not that serious. Unless, of
And
course, you really
as
motivate.
far as,
Mhm.
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, as far as conversations are concerned, I can be working on something and a friend could stop by and we go off into, all kinds of directions with the little bit that I've done, not really seeing the completed work yet. And they, in many instances, can kind of give you ideas or spark your interest on certain things to kind of bring it more to life.
Right.
So it can be a good conversation starter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Candace, what do you think about do you think the pieces that you have not completed that you will complete at some point and potentially do something with them?
I pretty much think I will. It's just I haven't been inspired to do it yet. And but I always like the idea of seeing what other people have done, even if it's something they have discarded. In my case, as I explained to you, all those were pieces that I didn't make any of those pieces. I have a tendency to choose a quilt and go with that, as opposed to being original. I think taking someone else's work and going, hey, maybe I could expound on that a little bit. I think that's a good thing. And I do think that eventually, particularly the X's and O's thing, it's simple, but it makes a gorgeous quilt when it's finished. And also it makes a wonderful quilt that you can use up scraps with. So I'm pretty sure I'll do that one. I'm pretty sure I'll make a pillow out of one of them. The other, I don't know, but something's going to come along and pique my interest. I don't want to, I don't, I can't, it's not that I can't bear to throw something away. I do. When it gets to be little tiny obnoxious scraps that are worthless, they become pillow stuffers for the dog pillows I make for the Humane Society. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's not that. It's just that when it's a clear piece already, I'd rather hold on to it and see if I can't think up something.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. And it's all like a lot of like this journey in quilting is based on inspiration. What are you inspired? What inspires you to do a particular project, and sometimes that inspiration is not there right at that moment, it comes like, oh yeah, that'll look great with that, and then you put it together or whatever. So I just think that I just think that it's a art form. I used to say recently that, I have little craft. I just craft, and it's kind of like, no, this is artwork. You're doing art. It's a form of art, and don't think of it as, it's just crafting.
Yeah.
So I think that like you said, how it is with painters. Sometimes our UFOs will more turn into something that we didn't initially think that it would be, and then we go to our quilt guilds and people put blocks on the table that they didn't want to complete, or it came from someone wherever, and you bring it home because you're like, oh, I like that, and then you decide to put it together, based on the way you decide to put it together. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing. So I have a couple of comments in the chat. Everyone's loving seeing the quilts, so that's a comment. Another lady that came on said that she loves the black and white, so she likes your concept about putting together black and white in your quilts. That's all, like I said, seemed like your signature that you like to do. And then someone else mentioned about she had gone to an exhibit in Newark at the Museum of Art, where mixed media artist Amina Brenda Lynn Robinson had pieces displayed that took years to complete. One in particular took over three decades. So that's a long time to to complete something. But I guess once she completed it, she felt as though that's
it's done.
It was done. It was done. So yes. And then another comment was a lady named Carol said that there is a process and the evolution of ideas that lead to each decision in the construction of a quilt. We have inner voices that guide us in terms of design, timing, and intention. And that pretty much sums up everything that we were saying, that, we see a reason, see something and we start it, and then sometimes life gets in the way, or you just don't feel inspired to finish it at that point in your life. And then you put it away and then you pick it back up again. And so I think it's a journey. I mean, if you think about it, life is a journey, right? So we just, continue to do it because we enjoy it. And as long as we have the health and strength to do it, and I'm sure most of us have more than enough fabric to last a lifetime.
Yeah.
Because once you start it, oh boy.
Doris said something that I found interesting. And, one of the things that she was talking about was the project she started with the paper piecing, and paper piecing wasn't for her. And I think that happens sometimes. I mean, we get inspired by either going to a quilt class or our guild meetings or whatever. But some of the things we try just don't really work for us. And I happen to agree with you, Doris. I cannot stand that stupid plop, 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 plop sound that it makes when you sew into paper. I simply can't bear it. I appreciate the really tiny, acute angles, and they're gorgeous and they make beautiful sunbursts. Someone else can do those. I'm not going to do paper piecing. So, it's a learning. I mean, it's not just that we're having a good time. It's a learning experience as well.
Right.
Exactly. See, I haven't really tried paper piecing yet, but thank you, Candace, because now every time when I do try it, I'm going to hear plop, 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 and I'm going to remember that's like, oh man, I can see why she doesn't care for this. But you never know. You have to be willing to try different things, and you don't know unless you try, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
And
Exactly.
that's the word failure. We always hear nothing beats a failure but a try.
Right.
So if we try it, you might try it and you might like it, type of thing.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. But like I said, in life, quilting is a journey, life is a journey, and we just got to do whatever makes us happy and brings us peace and joy. And because the world is crazy, so we need things that's going to make us happy. And if someone's buying fabric or sewing something together is what makes you happy, then it's all good.
Well, it was quilting during the pandemic that kept me sane. It was quilting along with walking. The two combined is like, whew, I got to do something. I can't just sit here and go crazy.
Right. Yeah.
And
that was the
very
upside.
therapeutic.
The upside of the pandemic was all the quilts I got done that year.
Yeah.
Yep. And meeting folks virtually, because that's how I found Quilt Africa Fabric Tribe, from virtually during the pandemic. And so everything in life can have its advantages and disadvantages for sure. But quilting is clearly a wonderful art form, and it is art for sure, no doubt about it. So we're just gonna continue to, enjoy it. And I don't see anybody else making any comments in the chat, but and so any last advice for anyone as far as that the people might, when they're out here trying to figure out, their journey as far as what to do with their UFOs, or anyone has any advice for anyone?
I would suggest that you visit your UFOs every once in a while, maybe every couple of 6 months. Take that. I have a bin. I take it out and I admire the fabric and I like it and I see what the final product should be, but I'm not ready to tackle it. But don't abandon them and don't forget them. Visit them every once in a while. And like, as I said earlier, as other people have said, sometimes you get inspired to finish it by looking at the work of other people. Like Mary's work. I like that black and white style that you have. So I may go back and look at them again, what I have in my box, and see if that's something that would work to motivate me to finish it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
Revisit them.
Yeah, revisit them. That's good advice for sure.
Mhm.
For sure. So
Mhm.
now I feel like I need to make some UFOs to try to have something to like go back to in a couple of years or whatever, because I don't have any yet, but
Uh,
I will.
okay. But I also think we need to be kind to ourselves.
Mm,
You know, it's quilting is therapeutic. Um, it's very rewarding, but I don't think it's a process that you need to rush through.
mm.
You know, so as long as it takes you, it's fine.
It's
It's
fine.
your work, it's your creation.
Right.
Right.
And that's true. And then if we ever, God forbid, but all of us are, passing through. So if we ever get to the point where we can no longer continue finish something, prayerfully, our family or friends will take it or whatever, and then somebody else will finish it. So it's never a waste. It's never a waste, unless something tragic happens, and then, but other than that, it's always an opportunity. That's really what it comes down to. We always have an opportunity to work at it or do something.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Any
I
other
agree.
yeah. So it's good. It's good. I think we are just sojourners on this path in life, and we're just finding something. I really feel grateful to find something that, and I think most of us just enjoy the camaraderie we have with one another. We get inspiration from one another. Because like you said, when we go to our local quilt guild and we do the show and tell, and when people show their work, it's like, wow, I like that, and so now maybe, at some point, Mary has inspired us to do something with a black and white,
Yeah.
and a friend of mine says something about oh wait, when you not copy, it's a form of flattery. Imitation is the best form of flattery, so to
Right,
speak. I think
right.
that's how the expression goes. So, it's not like you're copying someone, but you're inspired by, doing something that you saw someone else
Yeah.
do. And you're like, oh, wow, that looks really nice. And, you want to try using that in your theme. And so
Mhm.
that's great that we can
Lisa,
share.
And also, speaking of unfinished objects,
Mhm.
last week I had the opportunity to go and visit with a girlfriend who was confined to the house. And so I said, okay, I'll take lunch. And then I was like, but I'm going to be there for a minute. So we got to have something else to do. Not that we couldn't talk about a lot of stuff.
Mhm.
So I just pulled together several of my finished and unfinished pieces because she hadn't seen any of them.
Mhm.
And I took them, and she had the best afternoon. She said, well, this was the best afternoon I've had in a long time. And I was, well, good. And it was just sharing and showing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
uh,
good.
Lisa, I was gonna, oh, I'm sorry, Candace.
No, I'm just agreeing with Mary. That's great.
Mhm.
I was gonna say that everyone here has mentioned their mother or grandmother.
Mhm.
And last weekend, I had my 4-year-old granddaughter at the house, and we had just run out of craft projects to do.
Mhm.
So we went to my sewing room, and I sat her on my lap, and she picked out squares.
Mm.
And very slowly, I put the machine on its slowest speed, and we made a little piece, maybe 10 by 10
Mhm.
Mhm.
blanket for her doll.
Yeah.
And she was so excited. So
Mhm.
she saw the scrap bin and just got so excited picking out different colors. But she had so much fun. And I had so much fun with her too. So
Yeah.
I think part of, what we do is passing it on to the next generation, and
Mhm.
getting them excited about
Mhm.
quilting and color and just doing things that are part of our family history.
Mhm.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
to me, that's important too.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, when I spoke of my grandmother, uh, it's I skipped over my mother. Mother was a home economics teacher,
Mhm.
so
Okay.
she taught me to sew from, from the time I could sit at a machine.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
So, I do think that kind of experience. I mean, I believe it or not, learned on a treadle.
Mm.
So did I.
Oh, did you
So
really? Well, you know what I mean then. I mean, it took a whole lot more coordination than I even knew I had.
Mhm.
Because when you're that young, you don't have the sense to know you don't have it.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But No, I think our parents, our mothers and grandmothers and more really have done incredible things for us with both sewing and quilting. And we really ought to try to pass it on if we can. As like, Doris, that's the perfect thing. You were just doing an activity. You weren't like specifically teaching her to like cut out a pattern. You were just, oh, look how much fun this is. And she had a great time. So we really need to think about maybe passing some of this stuff down. Because if you look at our quilt guilds, most of the people are definitely older.
True. Yeah, a friend, you're right about that. A friend of mine said to me about wanting to get younger women on board and trying to teach them the art of quilting and everything. And I was like, yeah, that's great. And that's a wonderful idea. Howsoever, I was saying to her, the dilemma is that, the younger generation of women are working mothers and have a full-time job. Not to say you can't find time to enjoy the art of quilting, of course, but it makes it hard to set aside that time, because I know, like, I didn't really start until I was close. My children were older, and then I could do whatever I wanted to do on my own little bit of free time, even though I was still working. And I really didn't get into it much until I retired. And that's when I really got into it, because I could go to the quilt guilds and do things like that. But, it's important to, to expose them to it, even if they're not in a position at this time to take up the art form of quilting. But at least hopefully we can inspire a younger generation of folks to become interested in it, of course. And like I said, I didn't have that growing up at all, but I have my granddaughters see, and I've done things. So maybe one of these days, maybe between the two of them at some point, they'll like to, or they'll know, oh, my grandma makes quilts, or my grandmother does whatever with fabric. And so you never know, but we just have to try to encourage the younger generation for sure. I see a question or a comment that someone said about, sometimes it becomes a UFO because it's boring to me. Seemed like a good idea when I started, which that makes sense. And,
that's reality.
Yeah. But don't give up, like I said, maybe take something, get Jack the Ripper out at Gratitude Quilter, get Jack the Ripper out, take it apart, and then rearrange it and do something that, that you didn't think that you were going to do initially, and do something different with it. And so then maybe you won't feel like it's a boring piece. And so hold on to it at Gratitude Quilter. And Bob says that he uses black and white as a neutral, since he tends to use a lot of colors.
Yeah.
So
good idea.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Mary kind of said that too, that she likes the contrast, the black and white to the bright color she enjoys.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. To kind of tone it down and pull it together.
Yeah. I want to try to incorporate something with gray. Black and white is, black and white together is gray. So, do something with the gray in a lot of the African fabric. And apparently Candace has a lot of African fabric that someone blessed her with. So hopefully she'll feel inspired to do something with them and make a beautiful quilt or something out of the fabric that you have, because and I think a lot of people shy away from them because they feel like they're used to the regular cottons and they feel like it's stiff and whatever. But once you wash it, or even if you don't, depends on what you do with it, it's not stiff. So it's a wonderful fabric to work with. And so since you have some, you should hopefully, we'll see some at a show and tell at our quilt guild one day.
I definitely feel like what I need to do is bring some of it in and let you see it, and you can give me hints of what you think would be wonderful, because your work is so gorgeous.
Thank you.
I mean, I can't do the pictures like you do, but I could definitely do a quilt.
Yeah, that's good. Well, Miriam will be excited to see you do work with African fabric, because we all enjoy seeing it, because so beautiful, so vibrant. So it's good.
All of this, mine is all from Zimbabwe. Is Zimbabwe a large producer of fabric?
Each country within Africa, I guess, have their own signature kind of, fabric, whatever. And I don't know where they get it from. I'm not sure how they import or whatever, but someone brought it to you from Zimbabwe. So
Yeah, I mean, it actually has Zimbabwe on the on the hem, the selvage.
yeah.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I know that's where it's from, but I didn't know if maybe they were an important producer because, different places are more important for other products.
Yes, I'm
So
not
I
sure.
didn't know.
Yeah. Let me see. Nancy said, thank you so much for sharing your beautiful quilts. And Elaine Murphy said, great idea and conversation. Well done, Lisa, and my fabulous ladies that joined me. So got nice compliments. Thank you. Yeah, so this was a fruitful discussion, and hopefully we all just take away, our takeaway is no, they're not a failure. Don't throw them out. Hold on to them. Use Jack the Ripper. Finish them up. Do something. Gift them. Charity, or there's so many places, so many things we could do with our unfinished pieces. And by us
And that
having
they
this,
are works of art.
they're works of art, and by us having this skill and desire to work with fabric, we are blessed to be a blessing to others. So even if you don't really like it, somebody else might love it.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
it can find its place at Gratitude Quilter. And so hopefully this conversation will inspire all of us to continue to do what we're going to do with our pieces, and just keep on keeping on, keep on
Yes.
enjoying what we do. So
Thank you,
again,
Lisa.
I thank you, ladies,
Thank
so
you very
very much.
much.
You made it very informal and relaxing, and I really enjoyed having you, and thank you again for agreeing to do this with me. And I'll probably be calling you again, so stay
All
tuned.
right.
All
Thank you.
righty. All right. Thank
Thank you.
you again.
Bye.
Have a wonderful day.
You
All right,
too.
you too.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone.